let's go into Honorable Kennedy Japo's campaign.
That's right.
Now, you are the official spokesperson.
Yes.
Okay. I'll ask you this before I even go into anything else. As it stands now, there's been a few issues between himself and Abronye. How is it going?
Chairman Abronye?
Yes.
Is there any issue? I think it's a Abronye rather who has elected to run a smearing campaign on the personality of the Honorable Kennedy Japan, and consistently he's ignored him. What is going on? I'm sure within the minds of right-thinking members, objectively everybody knows that it is unacceptable and very inappropriate. But look, I mean, that is where the party has got into. It's got into a level where even regional chairman of the party can just get up and run attacks and insults on high-profile and high-ranking members of the party, especially when those attacks are even unprovoked. I think there are structures of the party. There is a disciplinary committee, there is a national executive officers, there is a national council. There are a lot of structures of the party. We leave it to their judgments. I'm not sure we want to comment on that. If they believe that what is going on is nice, fair. But you see, there comes a time where you take an action, people advise you, take a step, people advise you. If you are bent and you are determined to move in a certain direction, even there are sometimes that even God can step aside and second your motion. The results, you will have to battle with it. And a classical case is what is happening. First it was Kennedy Japan, and nobody spoke about it. Maybe because it was Ken. People felt Ken could defend himself as he's always been. And nobody really condemned him. Then he proceeded and cascaded to recently Archbishop Duncan Williams. And that is where I noticed that the party had issued a statement dissociating themselves from it. I think it should have gone beyond dissociation. And if there was really proper structure and the demonstration of leadership, should have moved beyond just dissociating yourself. He was invited before the disciplinary committee. He wrote a response that he was not going to appear before any kangaroo committee. We don't have the powers to make a decision for the national executive officers or the disciplinary committee. So we leave it to the jury out there to judge what is going on. But I mean, it's a phase. I'm sure we shall overcome. As for Mr. Abronye, we can only wish him the best and leave him to his conscience. He's an adult. So if he thinks what he's doing is right, we leave it to him.
Do you trust the current leadership of the party to take you to victory in 2028?
What kind of tricky question is that? This is the first time we asked the question. I have to reflect on it on TV. Do you trust the current leadership of the party to take you into victory 2028? I have confidence that if we put in good structures and do things effectively and do things in the right manner, we'll win 2028. The point is that change is not a change until you change. And there is no way you achieve different results when you do not do things differently. If you keep doing things the same way, you obviously get the same outcomes. And so I am hopeful and I am confident that if we do things differently, if we rebuild well, if we re-strategize effectively, I'm sure the outcome will be different. And so it's all about demonstration of leadership. I don't think I do not have confidence in them. What I can say is that we will only support the current leadership to be able to make the right decisions for the party so that at the end of the day, 2028, we can come back to power. Yeah, so we will give our necessary support to them.
Okay, now talking about that, is your candidate okay with the proposed date for elections for the flag bearer race? That's the end of January 2026.
This is our position. We were of the view that, especially taking into account the worst and most embarrassing and humiliating defeat that the party witnessed during the 2024 general elections, we were of the view that we should have put in proper structures to rebuild the party. And rebuilding the party essentially means that we have to rebuild from the base. We are of the view that the most effective way of rebuilding the party is to build it from the base, starting with polling stations, elections, then going into electoral area elections, constituency elections, and of course regional, that to national, and also to that of the flag bearership. That is what we believe that should have been the ideal situation. But I mean, as at now, National Council had made a contrary decision. They are of the view that we have to build from the top. Ideally, and I mean, this is even a common sense approach. Nobody will subscribe to the view that when you are building a structure, you build from the roof. Ordinarily, we would have expected that you build from the bottom. But they also explain that they believe that when a party gets a flag bearer, all the challenges and the problems within the party will be solved, which we disagree. When there are problems in the party, you solve the problems. Electing a flag bearer alone will not be a panacea to addressing the problems in the party. But whichever way, if that becomes a decision of the National Council, which in any way, if it's affirmed also by the annual delegates conference, which is scheduled on the 19th of January, we are very okay. We are more than prepared. We believe that whether they vote from top to down, whether down to top, whether middle, cross-sectional,
okay with it?
Yeah, the people will decide. Sovereignty resides with them. The current status of the party is unattractive. And I'm sure over 200,000 polling station executives are aware of that. And they are mindful of their responsibility to cause a change and put the party on track and get the party back to its own the old glory that the party enjoyed. So even though we had felt that the effective way should have been from bottom to top, whichever way, if we even vote today, we are so confident that Ken will get the nod. Of course, there has been theories about top to bottom just designed to favor one candidate, because the idea is that if in the last election 61% voted for candidate A or candidate B, then likely that even if he dips, he'll come around 54 or something. So let's still maintain the album. That theory is flawed and completely untrue, because these are the same polling station executives who complained that they were not taken care of when the party were in power for the past 8 years. So assuming we are to go by the philosophy or the logic that, well, because they gave us 61%, they are still going to give us another nod, it's also debatable, especially when during the last election, it appeared almost all MPs, members of parliament, were shaped to align with one candidate. All over 6,000 MPs were shaped to align with one candidate, if you recall. All MMDC, 76 MMDC were shaped to align with one candidate. That's the first time we witnessed that in the history of our party. And the whole establishment, government establishment and government machinery was also supporting one candidate. At that time, we had 61%. So now that we have a level playing ground, the sailor of the ship himself.
Is it a level playing ground as of now?
In terms of having the government support and the full establishment support is no longer there.
Okay.
And the context is this. President Akufo-Addo, who was the sailor of the ship, the captain of the ship, today has just essentially abandoned the ship.
Was he the main machinery behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia during the last election?
At least the arrowhead. But as of now, he's also abandoned the ship. So it makes the direction of the ship a bit, or the sailing a bit shaky. Recall Dr. Brian Champon, for instance, was also very integral in Dr. Bawumia's campaign, to the extent that he even wanted to be the vice president. It was apparently tipped as part of one of the few guys who were also tipped to be his vice. One of his financiers today also doesn't believe in his agenda. My own former boss, who I so much respect.
He doesn't believe in his agenda,
but
he has decided to also run because he feels he's competent to become the flag bearer of the NPP.
Rosalie, I am supporting you just last year to be the president of Ghana. And today, we went into our election. Today, I decide now to contest you. What does it mean?
Maybe you had dreams and aspirations to also become the flag bearer.
No, but the most logical point point that is very proximal to addressing or analyzing a situation like this is that most likely I no longer believe in your capability to even lead. Is that because I work with you, I supported you, I campaigned for you?
Why did you support me? Probably you supported me because you believed in it, and maybe we share the same ideology, and you feel that, okay, I can also do it. So we share the same ideology. Let me go and contest on my own and see if I can become the flag bearer.
What changed? If we share the same ideology, what changed?
He wants power too.
He wants, well, I leave it to the jury. but the principle is that even out there, it doesn't give you a good impression about you. Generally, even not to talk of Bawumia. For instance, I also campaign. Look at Mr. Kwame Japan, for instance. He was literally the campaign strategist in Dr. Bawumia's campaign. What happened? Today, he's also nursing his own ambitions too. You see, in politics, it doesn't mostly happen. Yes, there are precedents to that, but to support a candidate and just less than 2 years or a year, you make a U-turn to contest him, it speaks volumes. Okay, Mr. Akufo-Addo, can you also explain why that he no longer believes in the agenda?
He doesn't? I don't know about
He doesn't support the vice president's bill.
Really? That's the former president?
Yes, he doesn't support him again. But I mean, the energy and the...
Did he voice it out? Did he say it? How do you know?
Oh, they are objective realities. They are objective realities that if you see this, you do not need anybody to tell you that it is black. They are objective realities that the average reasonable person on the street can be able to decide. And of course, we are politically exposed people. We are in the party. We have meetings. We have conversations. You don't need a big man like him to come and stand on the podium and say that I no longer support you. It's mostly based on conduct.
But do you know the reason why he doesn't support you?
No, I do not. I mean, bottom line is that today, the main actors in that ship, President Akufo-Addo, Dr. Brian Tampon, my former boss, Dr. Addo. Remember, Dr. Addo also we wanted to be his vice. So the extent that he was stable and Napo, where they were very, very close. Today also is no longer supporting the cause, not to even talk of our own gentleman, Honorable Patrick Bama. Remember, he was also waiting.
So it's quite interesting that these names that you are mentioning, we are also hearing that they actually want to also be on the ballot sheet. They want to be the flag bearer of the MP.
Exactly, and that raises a fundamental question of why. Why? Because if you were supporting one particular candidate, and all of us, you see, if it was an isolated case of, say, only one person, then you can say that, oh, it is because maybe they fell out, or he has ambitions, or he no longer wants to, maybe he no longer believes in his agenda or something. But this is about 5, 6 of them. It can't be a coincidence. There should be something wrong somewhere. And it presupposes that they no longer believe in the candidature of Dr. Bawumia. And of course, the common reason or the common denominator could be just one reason. I mean, political party, no matter how good your vision is, how whatever the initiative that you want to bring on board, bottom line is that you need to win power. And in winning power, candidates also count, where you need a candidate who is winnable, who is marketable, who is sellable, and a candidate that when you sell, the public will yearn to purchase him and endorse him.
And you believe that your candidate, Honorable Kennedy Japan, is sellable, marketable, and people will accept him?
I'll give you a simple challenge.
Okay.
From today till next week, with your producer, just tag them, and your camera crew, your team, just tag them randomly to go on the street and interview reasonable men on the street. That who do they think should be our next president after President Mahama? And I tell you, if we give them 3 names, even 10 names, Kennedy Japan's name will come out so strongly, will stand out. Why? Because beyond the politics, beyond the MPP and DC politics, people believe that he's honest, he is bold, he is courageous, he is fearless, he is disciplined, he's able to criticize his own party, he's able to make very tough decisions, his entrepreneurship background, and individually what he's been able to achieve as a person. These are all character traits, and and attributes that if we make him the president of our country, he's going to demonstrate a very good sense of leadership and move our country forward.
Talking about character, I like that you went to that route. Now let's go into...
I know where you are coming.
Yes, I know. I know you know where I'm going. Anyway, now there are people who are also of the opinion that your candidate is rude. He's been on several media platforms using certain words that if you want to lead a country, you shouldn't. You should have some sort of decorum. You should have emotional intelligence. Some people feel that he lacks that.
Well, Rosalind, I will not sit on your platform and paint Kennedy Japan as a saint. Kennedy Japan is a human being. He has his strengths and he also has his shortcomings, just like you and I. Even as I sit here, by the time I finish this interview, if you want to get behavioral professors to analyze how this interview went, they will just draw a line and write strengths, shortcomings, or weaknesses. It's a character trait that we all have. I've also heard that other candidates are weak. They are unable to make critical decisions. They are timid. But you will construe that to be humble. Is that not the case?
Not me. Maybe people will.
People may construe timidity and indecisiveness to be humility, right? But in the case of Kennedy Japan, in our jurisdiction where we have a template of what the presidential or who a presidential material should be, we tend to overly emphasize on things that we believe, character traits that we believe they are shortcomings, instead of seeing them in an optimistic view. So, for instance, you say Kennedy is too temperamental. No, Kennedy is overly passionate. Somebody who wants to see the work to be done, so that if you do not do the work, he'll be so passionate to criticize you. They say, oh, Kennedy uses vulgar words. Yes, I mean, some of them you will agree that you would have expected that maybe he would have toned down. But for instance, let me give you one clear example. It was Gabi Asarochedakon and Anaya Osafo, and I think some few big guys, they had a meeting. And it was a closed-door meeting, and of course addressing party people. And subsequently, this meeting was recorded, given to Accra for a pro-NDC station to play. In that context, he described them that only fools who do this, that party people or family members you've met to make critical decisions for yourself. And one of your records is go and give to a pro-NDC station. And that nearly brought a rift between the Asantes and the Achems. When he gives that description, that only fools will do that, and calls his party people, if you do not situate it in that very rightful context, you may think that, oh, Kennedy just goes about insulting people. But objectively, how will you describe the one who did that? That we had a very confidential meeting, you record it, go and give it to Accra FM, which almost resulted in a tribal tribal rift between the Asantes and that. It wasn't necessary, or just to tarnish the party. So each of them, we may have to look at it case by case. And again, most of the problems that Kennedy has gotten himself to largely was occasioned by his strong voice in defending the MPP. Look at Anas, for example. I mean, Anas has not run any investigation about Kennedy before. People overly concentrate on what they believe may be the shortcomings. But somebody has been in politics since 92 up till now. There has not been a single case or even allegation of corruption against him. People are not focusing on that. That this is the guy who indeed can fight corruption.